now I think we have all the ingredients to formulate some question? No? We have all the ingredients to formulate the conjecture, which is a conjecture by Giesecker. In the same article I was mentioning before, if X, so X projective smooth, defined over an algebraically closed field of characteristic P, then if P1 et al. Of XX is 1, so X here is a geometric point. And as already mentioned in the first hour, I keep the point here, but in fact it plays no role, because to say that the étale fundamental group is trivial is just saying that the variety does not admit any non-trivial finite étale covering by the reconstruction theorem of Grothendieck. Then, if this is the case, so we say that if X has an étale fundamental group trivial, then there are no non-trivial stratified bundle. And I didn't insist before, I forgot, excuse me, what is non-trivial? So non-trivial in any such k-linear tensor category, so it's a unit object. And the unique object here means no non-trivial. That means if we have E stratified. So if I think of it as being a D-module, then it's going to be isomorphic as a D-module to a direct sum of the structure sheaf on which the differential operators are acting. Or if I think of it in the sense of Katz as E0, E1, etc., with Frobenius pullback E1 isomorphic to E0, etc., then this object here is a direct sum of object O, etc., where the map here is just a Frobenius pullback. So either way, you can think like this. So the theorem with Vikram Mehta is the answer is yes. And in fact, one needs slightly less, but it's not very interesting. It's enough to assume K perfect, characteristic P. And if we assume, and then the assumption is on the geometric étale fundamental group. Non-trivial stratified. So all I say now is just work with Vikram. And it has a corollary here, is that to assume that the geometric fundamental group is 1 is a tiny little, I mean, one can slightly weaken, it makes it more room here, is that if you just assume it is finite, then the stratified fundamental group as a K-bar group scheme is just isomorphic. The surjection we had before is an isomorphism. So X here in the discussion is a rational point. Okay. So the first, so I will give the main ideas of the proof. The first theorem, which is very important even though it's not so hard to prove, and we give some evidence for the Giesecker conjecture, is a theorem by a young mathematician, Dos Santos. In fact, this is his thesis. It has been published in 2007, and if a young person here is interested in the topic, I would strongly advise this young person to look at this very nice article. So he proves the following. You remember we had our stratified fundamental group. So he is working over an algebraically closed field, but those are details. And X is projective. I forgot to make one remark. So maybe I make it after this. Smooth. You remember that from our discussion, in fact, I forgot to explain, so maybe I should explain now. Then the theorem, it's formulated completely differently in his article, but I formulate it like this. The theorem is that so if you look at the étale fundamental group, and with a little epsilon explanation I gave already before that I understand a profinite group scheme as an algebraic group scheme over an algebraically closed field, then not only it is a surjection, but it is a profinite completion. So what does that mean? That means there are no non-smooth, I mean, without any assumption here, we do not assume that X is geometrically simply connected. That means P1 is 0, P1 of Grothendieck is 0. There are no non-smooth quotients, finite, K-finite quotients. And it brings to a subject which I have no time to discuss, unfortunately, but because there is a very important group scheme in characteristic P, fundamental group scheme, the construction of which is due to Madhav-Norrie, which generalizes both Grothendieck's construction and Ted's construction of the P-divisible group of the Picard variety of a variety. And this construction, which is due to Norrie, is also a Tanaka construction. And as Grothendieck says in SGA, this is really the right construction because it takes into account also not only finite étale coverings of a given scheme, but also finite flat coverings of a given scheme, which are not necessarily étale, but which are recognized in a pro-system coming from principal bundles under a K-group scheme. And this construction is Tanaka the moment X is proper. If X is no longer proper, then unfortunately we do not have any Tanaka formalism to construct this pro-system. Anyhow, the theorem of João Pedro dos Santos is that there are no non-smooth finite quotients, finite in the sense of algebraic geometry, that means of dimension 0, I should say, maybe it's clearer like this, of k dimension 0. And all the quotients are étale. So this is really something which pleads in favor of the question here, of a positive answer to the question here. So let me, I will not use this, but in a way it is an enlightenment for the question itself. So here there are two types, so let me write now on proof. And let me outline the idea of the proof. So I will go in steps, make tiny little reductions. and then give some statement, make a stronger reduction, and then go to the core of the proof and show how to reduce it to another theorem. So the first thing is, so maybe now it's time to make the remark. As we have seen in characteristic 0, the conjecture of Giesecker is for X projective smooth, but the model was characteristic 0, as explained in his article. I mean, it's the theorem of Grothendieck. And the theorem of Grothendieck in over C implies more than what is written here, because we know via the Riemann-Hilbert correspondence of the linear that if X was not projective but only quasi-projective, then we would still have a conclusion that there are no non-trivial regular singular connections. But here I cannot do anything. So here, unfortunately, remark for X, the conjecture was not for X quasi-projective, but we can raise the question, and for X quasi-projective, not projective, the method is not available. So two tinier reductions. Reduction 1, it's enough to, what did I want to say? I'm sorry. Yeah, we can, so enough to consider, I mean, we have a simply connected manifold in characteristic P, I mean, geometrically simply connected. Rather than considering all stratified objects, we consider only those for which E1 lies in E0, lies in E2 and so forth, with Frobenius pullback of E1 is then really E0, Frobenius pullback of E2 is E1, etc. And the reason, that means we kill the O identification between Frobenius pullback at each level. The reason is the theorem of Katz again, which says that because X is projective, or proper would be enough, but I will need projective, then two such objects, let's say E and E prime, are ISO if and only if the underlying vector bundles are ISO. For all L. So it's a tiny thing, and in fact this declaration with K not K bar, it's enough to consider K equals K bar, because if we are able to trivialize our stratified bundle over the algebraic closure of a field, then because the object is coming from the Tanaka formalism, it corresponds to a representation of an algebraic group of finite tap, which comes just from this object. After an extension of the field, this representation is trivial, then it was trivial to start with. So in fact, there is no harm in assuming that K is algebraically closed. So now let me make an illustration. We won't use it, but let me illustrate the proof in the rank 1 case. So, so now we assume all the time that K is K bar. So then we know the peak functor is representable. And it's representable, so if we look at numerically, the functor of numerically trivial rank 1 bundle, then we know that it is represented by an algebraic group scheme. which is quasi-projective. And it is presented, I mean, its one component is peak zero, and then the quotient is torsion. So now, let us take a stratified object. So we have L, which is, but for classical reason, I denote a stratified object now by L because it's rank 1. L is L0, L1, L2, and so forth. And then to say that Frobenius pullback of L1 is L0, Frobenius pullback of L2 is L0, etc. This is saying that L0 is L1p, L1 is L2p, and so forth. That means a stratified object is exactly the tet, I mean, that's the p-tet module of peak. So I just write it like this. So now assume, let us make the assumption that the abelian quotient, in fact, we don't need here the whole étale fundamental group, but only its abelian quotient of X is trivial. Then we know that the L-adic tet module which is the pro-system, the inverse system over all powers n, which are natural numbers, of the ln torsion points of peak zero, because this one is recognized by the pro-L completion of the abelian fundamental group, this has to be trivial. As a consequence, then peak zero, the dimension over k of peak tau, of peak zero and therefore of peak tau is 0. As a consequence, when we look at our stratified object here, which is an infinite sequence of line bundles which are obtained by p dividing the original line bundle and going on, then there is a strictly increasing sequence of numbers n1 and 2 such that Ln1 is going to be isomorphic to Ln2, is isomorphic to Ln3, and so forth. But on the other hand, this is a stratified object here. So if I fix a level, let's say Lns plus 1 and Lns, then we knew by the very definition that the piece power of this bundle is this one. So we obtain the equality here, Lns, not p, but p to the power, the difference of those two numbers. So p to the power ns plus 1 minus ns. And so this is p, I'm sorry, it's badly written. So the conclusion here of this remark here is that Lns is isomorphic to Lns to the power p ns plus 1 minus ns. And this for a strictly increasing sequence. But this here, what does that mean here? It means, said differently, I can say Lns to the power p to the power ns plus 1 minus ns, minus 1, this is trivial. So this means this line bundle is an L torsion point for a certain number L which is prime to P. So this is a certain number L here. So because the étale, again, the tet module, the L-adic tet module is trivial because the étale fundamental group LNS is trivial. But I said that this sequence here is infinite, So, because whenever LNS is trivial, all its Frobenius powers are, Frobenius pullback, excuse me, are trivial. So, whenever I have one level here, LNS trivial, then this keys all those ones. And because NS is strictly increasing, then the whole L is trivial by what I said, by Katz's theorem, which says that one recognizes an object purely by its underlying vector bundle. So this is an illustration here. So if we try to step back what we did here, what did we do? We used, so for rank 1, we used the existence of quasi-moduli for the underlying vector bundles. Appearing in a stratified object. We used another thing which is not quite transparent in the discussion here, is that whenever I have such an object, I pick one level, one vector bundle, here one line bundle. What is true is that if I take the Frobenius pullback here, which is just a piece power, it is still inside of my moduli. So I used that the operator, which assigned to an object E, or let's say En, its Frobenius pullback, is an operator which is defined on those moduli. Okay, and I used, of course, the Tate module. And I use it, let me phrase it in a nice way here. I use it in the shape that if I have Frobenius pullback, I mean Frobenius p to the power, Frobenius pullback equals trivial, then E is trivial. So for some, okay. Okay. So let us do the higher rank case. So what we have, what we know by the work of Langer, Adrian Langer, which is based upon the work of Giesecker, interestingly, but not quite the same work, is the existence of quasi-projective moduli for chi-stable, I will explain, chi-stable torsion-free sheaf, which universally co-represents a functor. of such sheaves. So let me explain. So if X is projective smooth, now we need, so we really need projective, we need the choice of an ample line bundle. And we know that we have several notions of stability of torsion-free sheaves, so definitions. Then we say that E, a vector torsion-free sheaf, is chi-stable if, and let me write, with Hilbert polynomial equals Hilbert polynomial of O. I will write immediately what that is. If for any sub-torsion-free sheaf, which is not E and not 0, then PU is strictly smaller than PE. And of course, as usual, semi-stable, here we allow in the large sense. And here I have to explain this. PE is a polynomial with rational coefficients and is a Hilbert polynomial which is defined by the value of chi on X of O twisted by N once the choice of the ample line bundle has been made, so N large. And then, as we know, there is another notion which is due, so this one is due to Giesecker, and the one due to Mumford, of mu stability. If, so for any U, as before, then mu U is smaller or smaller or equal to mu E, where mu U is retrievable from this Hilbert polynomial as being the coefficients which describes the degree with respect to, here I made a mistake, by the way, I apologize. This is chi normalized so that we divide by the rank, so that otherwise I would have to put the rank here, I apologize. And mu here is divided by the rank. And then we know simple computation is that mu stable than the degree 0 implies chi stable. Yeah, mu stable and yeah. Okay, and the theorem of Langer is that there are quasi-projective moduli, and in fact not even over a field, but even in unequal characteristic for a scheme over a ring, which are fine in the sense that they universally co-represent the functor on closed fibers and on the general fiber. So I leave it like this. And we have properties here of a stratified bundle is that in fact what we have is Pn, En is Po. And the reason here is easy to understand is that those vector bundles here, because they are infinitely Frobenius divisible, and because whenever I fix some polynomial in Chern classes of a fixed homogeneous degree with a fixed denominator, then what I will have is that, I mean, I always have, so I assume it's homogeneous degree n, then the pullback here is going to be this Chern class, the value of this Chern class here is going to be fulfilling such a thing. So then this implies here that the objects in a, I mean, all the vector bundles in a, from an object, from a stratified object, have the property that all germ classes are vanishing. And consequently, the Hilbert polynomial is the same as the Hilbert polynomial of O. And one has a little proposition here. I mean, proposition. Then if E is a stratified object, then there will be an N0 such that the shifted stratified object so the corresponding shifted stratified object has a property that it is a successive extension of, let's say, U, U0, U1, etc., where all the UN are stable, are mu stable of slope 0. And in particular, they are also chi-stable. So this is a computation which is a classical, I mean, it's a computation which is, the way to compute is not so difficult. So the reason is, let me say one word maybe on proof, just one word. In fact, something like this in a much weaker form appears in an article by Brenner and Caid on curves, where they observe that not this shape here, I'm running out of power here, but something weaker that for n large, the corresponding underlying vector bundles are semi-stable of degree 0. So they are on a curve. So this is what they show. So this gives the idea that something stronger could be true. And what is true is that not only the underlying bundle for n large are semi-stable of degree 0, but it is also the case that for n large, if we truncate this stratified object here at a finite level, the whole object is going to be successive extensions of stratified objects with the property that each of the UN here is stable. And the proof here is not so difficult. I mean, let me say just in a word. The first thing we can say is that it cannot be the case that if we take, if we assume that for n very large, we have a sub sheaf here which has degree strictly positive of En, then when we take the Frobenius pullback, this degree will be even larger, but there is a maximal slope subsheaf of this. So at some point it will be too large. So that kills the existence. So this will mean first that all those subjects here as vector bundles are semi-stable of degree 0. And then what one does is one takes a circle. One takes a circle at the level L, let's say. The circle is a maximal sub which is polystable of degree 0. One takes its inverse image and it has to lie in the circle here. So then it gives an infinite sequence of such object. It has to terminate, and this proves this using that the category is abelian. So now I am in the position to write the main reduction. So assume, so X is projective smooth over K equals K bar. Assume that two things are fulfilled. The Grothendieck et al. Fundamental group has, in fact, only the abelian part of the abelian quotient of Grothendieck et al. Fundamental group. For this part, one needs only the abelian subcategory. So there has no p power order quotient. So I recall that in fact I could, of course, for any group scheme, I could talk on the p power order quotient, even if there are quotients which are finite dimensional and not étale. That would be the degree of the function, the degree of the ring of the K affine algebra, which is Artinian over K. But we know by the Nash theorem of dos Santos that anyways it's étale. So we are just counting the number of points of the group scheme here. So assume there are no p power order of quotient, which is a weakening of our assumption, and assume that for any E stratified, such that En is stable of slope 0 for any n, that assume that any stratified object with underlying vector bundle stable, mu stable of slope 0, then E is trivial. That means assume I'm able to show this for such objects here. Then the conclusion is there are no non-trivial stratified objects. So let me show this because it's a pleasure, because it introduces again the work of João Pedro dos Santos, so proof. So what we need to understand, so we know we don't have any, stratified object with underlying mu stable vector bundles are trivial, and we know by the preceding computation, it's just a computation, here's this proposition, that any stratified E has a property that the shifted E for n0 large enough is an extension of such U stratified with UN stable, mu stable of slope 0. Then by our assumption, those U here are trivial. So if I am able to kill extension, so if extension is in the stratified category of the trivial object by itself are trivial, then I know that by this proposition here, it will imply that for any E n0, the shifted E is going to be trivial for n0 large enough. So, but to say that En0 is trivial, by what I said about Katz earlier on, this is just saying that just in quotation marks, saying that the underlying vector bundles are trivial. So this is saying that En is trivial as an algebraic vector bundle for n larger than n0. But this because the low En for n lower than n0 are just Frobenius pullback of those. This implies that all En are trivial. And this again by Katz, this implies that E is trivial. So what I have to understand is that extensions here are trivial. And why is that true? This is true because of the work of João Pedro. So he computed, I mean, it's a computation, but it's a very nice information, nice observation. He computed that those extensions here is the same as the Pro system under the Frobenius pullback of H1O. Pardon? Excuse me, Dos Santos. So that's the only place in the proof where we will use, so to, I apologize, we use a category of stratified bundle. Why all I explain here, and I will explain later on, it uses the existence of moduli of standard stable torsion-free shifts, and here we really use the category. It's a categorical fact here. Because what is the difference between moduli and category? First, the category admits objects which are not stable by no means, by no notion of stability. And secondly, the ranks and everything can jump. In the category, I have tensor products and sums, while of course on a moduli I don't have any, except in peak, I don't have any tensor product. So then he shows that this is the inverse system over the Frobenius pullback of H1O. What does that mean? That means infinite sum, infinite sequences with Frobenius pullback of X1 is X0, Frobenius pullback of X2 is X1, etc. But we are here, we know it is always the case that whenever we have a K a vector space endowed with a p-linear endomorphism, there is a sub-K vector space, which Katz denotes by nilpotent, on which the endomorphism is, the endomorphism acting here is a Frobenius, this is what we are interested in, on which the Frobenius acts nilpotently. It is always the case that it is a sub-K vector space, and whenever the field is perfect, in particular if the field is algebraically closed, then we can write a supplement to it, which is H1 XO semi, so S here stands for semi-simple, on which the Frobenius is an isomorphism. And this is a finite dimensional vector space. And those now, this is a decomposition as a vector space, so those are finite dimensional vector space. And there is a description of the semi-simple part of H1O, of the that means of the extensions as vector bundles from O by O, which is H1 et al. X Z mod P, twisted over the finite prime field FP with K. So when our abelian quotient, P quotient are 0, then this piece here is 0. Consequently, our assumption here implies that H1 XO is in fact H1 XO nilpotent. Consequently, the Frobenius acts nilpotently on a finite dimensional vector space, and this kills the Pro system here. Okay, so now we made this, this was the more important reduction, so we made the reduction, and this is the only place where we use really the category as a category. where we can now we have to show. So the problem is now formulated as follows. So we reduced the question to the following problem. So assume X projective smooth over K equals K bar. Assume P1 et al. XX is 1. And then we want to show out of it that any stratified object such that the ENs are all mutable of slope 0, then E is trivial. So that means the categorical thinking here kills the extension. And in fact, more, I mean, not only the extension, because we are not claiming that any object is extension of such, but we are claiming that any object after a shift is an extension of such. Okay, so now we used, because all the underlying vector bundles here are stable of slope 0, of mu slope 0 here, then we can use Langer's moduli. So we use this moduli space here of chi stable. I mean, it's not because I like chi stable anyway. I don't have much of an experience with all those various subtle different notions of stability. But this is because Langer constructed moduli in families for chi-stable torsion-free shifts and not for mu-stable torsion-free shifts. So this notion is more adequate in families. But anyways, because the funny thing is that mu stability implies chi stability, so it's very fine, which of course implies chi semi-stability, and then you go back, this implies mu semi-stability. So the moment I'm able to reduce to stable object, I can argue. If I was reducing only to semi-stable object, I would be dead here. So, okay, we have those, and this is universal in the sense I said before. So now, so this is the first point. So if you remember what I presented as an illustration for the rank 1 case, I said the first thing is we have at disposal quasi-projective moduli. That was number 1. And here, and of course, all the underlying bundles in the rank 1 case were living in those moduli. Here it's not the case, but we managed to reduce the problem only to those objects. The second point is that one was able to say that whenever we have an object, so we have an object here, so assume we have a stratified object. So chi-stable and Hilbert polynomial constant equals Hilbert polynomials of O. So all the AI here are points here. And but what we had before is that we were able for any point, I mean for those it's clear that if I take here an EI I at least 1, then I take its Frobenius pullback, then by the very definition of a stratified object, so then it is just a bundle EI0, So I have an operator here which sends EI plus 1 to EI, that's my Frobenius pullback, but it fails because if it fails, I cannot completely argue as I had in the rank 1 case, because if I look at F opposite of E0, then I do not know whether this one is that chi stable. So we don't know. And in fact, Giesecker was the first one to observe that Frobenius pullback of stable bundles are not necessarily stable. Not always stable. So this means that I cannot try to argue as I did before. So in order to remedy this, we first observe, this is a known fact, that there is an open on the moduli here on which this operator here is well defined. So let me call it Verschiebung. So it assigns to a point, moduli point here, it assigns here the Frobenius pullback. So that means I'm just saying that the Frobenius pullback is stable. So the idea is the following. We define, I'm running out of time here. I would like, okay. So maybe I will kindly ask you to give me 2 or 3 more minutes. I try to run here. So we will make a definition here which is completely adapted to our situation, and which is the following one. We define a sublocus here in M by its points. We are over K bar here, and the points are those E such that there is a stratified object such that Frobenius pullback of E prime 0 is E. So, of course, this, okay, so then what I notice here is that the Verschiebung here is defined over MS. Because by definition, I'm sorry, this is not, sorry, this is not what I want to say, I apologize. What I want to say is that the moment this definition here, if I compute the slopes here, so all those E prime n are going also to be moduli points, just by slope computations. And as a corollary, just by the very definition, the moment I have an E here, which is MS, it comes with a family E prime n, which are all in MS. So we define n to be the algebraic closure of MS. Don't forget, our goal is to show there are no non-trivial stratified bundles. Rank 1, we know how it works, so we may assume higher rank, and we want to show that this is trivial, and this will be a contradiction because this is stable. So then, by definition, so by construction, the idea is like that. So what one shows here is that if I look at this locus here, it is dense in N. It is dense in N just by the very construction here, because any point is equipped with Verschiebung inverse. And this map here is dominant. And consequently, it is exchanging the irreducible components So some high power of this map, of the Verschiebung restricted to n, so I should say restricted to n here, is going to define a rational dominant map on the irreducible components of n. So now the idea is the following. So we are able to define, in fact, De Jong and a student of his computed that the Verschiebung operator on the moduli of stable vector bundles on a curve, maybe of genus that is too, I forgot, but at any rate he computes that this is a dominant map on the whole moduli. That means M0 is dense in M. But here, because we have a higher dimensional variety, we don't know, but it doesn't matter because we construct a sub-variety. I mean, one might observe here is that because we define n by its point here, by the very definition, n is going to be inside of the reduced locus of M because it's defined by its points. So, and on this, the Verschiebung is dominant, and we can even separate the reducible components here by replacing this Verschiebung by some high power of Verschiebung. We don't care what power of Verschiebung we are considering. So now the idea is to use the following theorem, which is an extraordinary theorem of Hrushevsky, which unfortunately is not coming from algebraic geometry, but which is coming from model theory, and which says the following: assume Y is an irreducible, so geometrically irreducible variety defined over a finite field, and assume gamma in geometrically irreducible affine variety defined over a finite field, and assume gamma in the product over FQ is a subvariety dominant on both sides. Then, for any strict closed subschemes W of Y, there are two things. There is a close point U in Y minus W, and there is an integer M such that the close point of Y cross Y, U Frobenius of FQ to the power M, so this is the Frobenius on Y, which is defined over FQ, which raises coordinates to the m's power, to the Q to the power m's power. So x to the Q to the M on coordinates. So U is a close point of gamma. So, for example, if you apply this fantastic theorem of Hrushevsky, usually is applied, I mean, usually, but not usually, excuse me, but may be applied for graphs of dominant maps. So for example, assume gamma is the graph of psi, where psi from y to y is dominant. And of course defined over the same field. Then what you obtain here is that because for any closed subscheme of y, you will find a point of this shape here, and if you raise to a U is a closed point. So if it is a closed point, it will be fixed by a perhaps even higher power of Frobenius. So this means here that when you go to this higher power of Frobenius, what you obtain is a periodic point, because this one has to be, this equation here, it is telling you that psi of u is of the shape. So go to a higher power, it is telling you that periodic points, are dense. So this is, of course, quite a fantastic theorem. So I'm sorry, it's already 2 minutes after 5. So let me say 2 words. I apologize. I should have been quicker, but this VA and the reduction, they will again be dominant by choosing the model. They will again be dominant and stabilizing this NI. So again, some better power here will stabilize then this irreducible, the irreducible component. Let me write like this. We can split the irreducible component of a finite extension of our reduction, and then this power here will stabilize this one and will be dominant on this one. So then Hrušovský theorem is going to tell us, because we are free to choose the subscheme here out of which we find our close point here, we will choose this subscheme here, which is the locus of indeterminacy of the operator, which is the Felschiebung, the specialization of Felschiebung over a finite field here. So we will obtain here points here, which will have the property that phi m f q of u will be our Felschiebung here after restriction. So there will be such a point, u. But now, because of the strength of Langer's theorem, that it really universally co-represents, one can show that the mod p reduction of the Felschiebung is the Felschiebung on the corresponding moduli. So all we find at the end of the day here, what we find a closed point. That means we find a vector bundle which fulfills this equation that some power of Frobenius is the same as Felschiebung to some power. And then because everything is defined over this finite field here, then this Felschiebung is commuting with the Frobenius here. So we can raise again to a higher power as we did in our explanation here. And what we obtain here is a closed point here which has the property that some large power of Frobenius over our finite field here is isomorphic to U. And now, if you remember, this was exactly the equation we had for rank 1 shifts here. And we were able to say, because of the existence of the L dictate module, such a U has to be trivial. And here we have to replace this argument. But this argument has to be already developed by Langer and Stuhler in an old article, where they showed that whenever a vector bundle has a property that its high Frobenius pullback of this vector bundle is isomorphic to the vector bundle, then there is an étale finite coverings, let's say H, with the property that H upper star of U is trivial as a vector bundle. But because now this X here, so now our X is over FQ here to be able to apply it, and its fundamental group here, the point was chosen in such a way that the Grothendieck specialization map from the étale fundamental group in characteristic 0 to the étale fundamental group in characteristic P was surjective, because we were assuming that this one was trivial, this one is trivial as well, so consequently this Langer-Stuhler covering here is trivial, and consequently our U was trivial to start with. And this is a key point in the argument. So I apologize, thank you very much for going over time.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments?